Hey guys, this is Dunk, and here I show you the speedy version of that bleed character that I recently also showed on a deeper delve, like 700 something against Abaxos, which is now in delve depth like close to 900. And this is a respec version with a lot of attack speed, as you've seen, and then also a lot of damage, obviously. And this is basically all bleed damage that you see here. It works perfectly fine against all Guardians, it works perfectly fine against Shaper and Uber Elder as well. And you see here that the character takes a bit of damage. It only has 6k life in comparison to the deeper delve version, but it is a lot faster. It moves a lot faster, it attacks a lot faster, and the damage is so high that here I was even able to kill Hydra without getting a second phase. It also works perfectly fine for these Legion encounters, even though in this one I fucked up a little bit because midway I switched to the blood stance, and yeah, therefore my area was too low, and when I finally encountered the boss that spawned, you see that in a moment, and I switched back to sand stance. I don't know, I was just a little bit confused, but whatever, it worked pretty fine. And in these encounters you can also pop Val Molten Shell, which I did not do here, but it turned out fine. But yeah, I'm a little bit experimenting here. This is a map clear, at least a few parts of map clear in tier 6 T16, and I do still have some issues controlling a character that jumps around in this speed, because I'm totally not used to that. I just started that, and respect to that, but it's a lot of fun, it's fast, and players I don't know, that are faster or better than me can probably get a lot faster map clears from this build. But it's totally fine, and I think this is also a viable option to league start with, because it's with resolute technique, so you don't have to check for accuracy rolls, and bleed is usually pretty cheap to build because most people totally ignore it, and you don't need very special items to make it work actually. So here you see a little bit of a better example for an encounter against Legion. It's obviously not as good as a projectile spell build, bow build or whatever, but basically just mechanically nothing can be as good as this. So yeah, I kill this encounter, and then I can give you a short example on how standard T16 bosses that are not Guardians fare. I don't even change the increased area of effect rule for that, so here's that kill, and after that I give you a very short explanation of what's going on here. Alright, now we've seen that mapping and boss killing potential of the character, and let's now just talk about the gear pretty quick. Actually, I have a foil here that's high attack speed, because you want to have these conditional modifiers for bleed damage stacked on top of each other. 60% chance here, and for multi-strike that's 100% more damage, and the second repeat you want to stack that, and you have Ruthless here. So these are conditional modifiers to bleed damage, and you want to stack them all high as possible, and you, in an ideal world, want to have all 8 bleed instances. You can have a Crimson Dance to be these super buffed mods, and if you have that, then you will get a lot of damage out of this build. So, and that's why I have this. You want to craft these with corroded and jagged fossils, and flat physical damage or percentage increased physical damage, either tier 1 or tier 2, whatever you get in combination with a bleed mod, and then you can just multi-mod this. Usually these come with just 2 prefixes. That's pretty common to roll with 2 prefixes, and then you can, if the suffixes are full, you have to just be lucky on an annul. If you're unlucky, you have to roll again because you removed one of the prefixes. If not, you can go with prefixes cannot be changed. You scour that, then you multi-mod it, and then you have something like this. And this is like oh, come on, that's a 400 DPS weapon here, and with On top of that, the bleed mod. So that's pretty strong, and it was reasonably easy to craft that. Just need to have a few exalts to do that, and that's it. The chest is item level 80, so that's a divination card chest that I just crafted. I got a lot of those divination cards, I just bought them and crafted chests until I got something that I wanted to use myself. The others I just sold, so basically I earned money in the process, and that's something that you can also think about in the next leagues, whatever you want to do. Crafting is usually a good way to get some currency. The helm is also self-crafted with pristine and jagged fossils until you get what you want, and this is nearby enemies take increased physical damage and a lot of life, as much as you can. The same combination of fossils is used for the belt here. You also want the physical damage and the life mod, and I don't know how I crafted these. These are spiked gloves, so spiked elder gloves are usually pretty expensive, but you don't need that. This increased melee damage mod that doesn't do anything for bleed, so it's basically wasted currency if you use something like that. Just get Titan gloves that are super cheap, and maybe you even get what you want with some life and chance to block to get like a high block chance, and that's it. I don't have anything else here. Just a free suffix with where you can craft increased attack speed. So there's a lot of potential here to get more. Rings are also just flat physical damage, life, resistance, and main stat, whatever you need. And here that's with mana leech. You need mana leech, otherwise you cannot sustain. And basically the only two uniques I have here is the Impresence, which is an elder drop, red elder I think, and with free vulnerability here. That's why I use this. If I were to get gloves that have vulnerability on hit corruption, I could use whatever I want. For example, I don't know, craft a free curse on the chest and get a Shaper amulet where I can put temporal chains, which would help in Delve, but yeah, this is what I have. There's a lot of potential here as well. Also the Surrender here, that's a super strong shield. It's from the Netol, or however you say that, and this heals you when you block. It has high block chance, armor, life, so a super good shield. You can get something better. A Shaper shield can roll better mods, but this is hard to roll, so I don't recommend it. Just get this one, this is super good. Boots are dodge boots that are super cheap as well. And that's it about the main gear. Jewels are mainly attack speed here in this setup, attack speed here and here as well with some life and bleeding damage, and here's also mainly attack speed but also the corrupted blood mod. You want to have that if you go delving a little bit. And as you have maybe noticed, this is an alteration of the deep delve setup that I used with a lot of attack speed. So I put these attack speed nodes here. I've put this here, which is also attack speed. I put this one in and removed the block mods because I wanted to get these shield mods here that also give attack speed and block chance. So that's super good. And I got this jewel socket here. And then I also got Brinkmanship, which is this one here, to increase the area effect a little bit. And that's basically it. That's the adjustment. That's how you get with reasonable gear but not super good gear. And this Timeless Jewel, you get 6k life. Even without this Timeless Jewel, it would be totally fine for T16. Because this usually, if you kill it fast enough, it doesn't pose a threat. And you also have the block chance, some armor, that's pretty nice. Alright, that's about the gear. Some of the gems, like I talked about that, Multi-Strike Ruthless are basically mandatory, Melee Fist, Brutality, Increased Area, Lacerate. The interesting stuff is these auras are also pretty hands down whatever you want to use for bleed builds. I have Rage here in the shield and Riposte, so I have two triggered attack skills that can generate rage, but this only is relevant in deeper delves where stuff attacks you, and after longer encounters you can actually have 50 rage stacks from that, and that's pretty helpful. I do have cast when damage taken and Molten Shell, actually a Vaal Molten Shell, and you want that. You want that to have that because this is basically a life buffer, and the Vaal Molten Shell is also on demand. So when you, as you have seen before, when you activate a Legion or whatever the next encounters may bring for us, then you want to pop that just to get a little bit more life, and yeah, that's basically it. The rest is straightforward, and check the Path of Building links out. And now I leave you with the Uber Elder. See ya.
Putrefy, rot, spoil, and fester.
Exile, do something!
My spirits are spent.